What is going on, guys? I'm Matt. This is Motoworks. I'm actually starting this new series, and it's called How to Ride Your Motorcycle. Now, this is a series that is going to include not only tips and tricks on how to ride a motorcycle, along with demonstrations on stuff I talk about. It's going to be a series that it also will have to do with how to maintain your motorcycle and how to perform certain services and preventative services on your motorcycle. Now, the unique thing about this series is it's going to go kind of by the seat of my pants and based on your comments and what you leave in that comment section in terms of things you've heard. Maybe there's myths out there you've heard about motorcycling that you want dispelled. Maybe there's something you'd like to see done service-wise, or maybe there is just something you were told and you weren't quite sure and you wanted some verification. I'll also have some Q&A type sessions. I may even do some live stuff, but this is really going to be centered around motorcycling because I think it's very important. I think it's crucial that motorcycle safety and motorcycle preparedness be broadcast out there in as many places as it can be. I know there are other YouTube channels that go over this stuff, and some of them do it correctly, others not so much. Now, I'm not going to dime out any YouTuber out there. I think what they say is subjective, just like what I say is subjective. I may say something and you don't agree with it. Leave a comment below. It's kind of what this series will be based upon. If there's something that you say that can't be done, then I'll throw on the suit and I'll go out and I'll demonstrate that, yeah, maybe it can be done. But so it's kind of a new series. It's an idea I've been kicking around for a while, and it's only because I've seen too many people that I know, love, care about, go down on a motorcycle, either be killed or injured on a motorcycle, and I just think that a lot of those incidents are due to the fact that they just weren't properly trained, or they just didn't have the proper skill sets that training can provide. So that's going to be the series, guys. And as a short little intro, the very first thing I'm going to talk about is how to select a motorcycle. Now, motorcycle selection is 100% based upon how you, the rider, feel when seated on the motorcycle. So, what I always tell people to do is not worry about how large the motorcycle is, meaning what the cc size is. I always tell people, if you sit on the bike and you feel confident right away, then that's the bike for you, regardless of the cc size. A bike's power is only going to come on depending upon how much of this you give it, meaning the throttle. So really, it doesn't matter if it's a bigger bike, a 750, 1000 cc motorcycle. If it feels comfortable and you feel confident sitting on the motorcycle, then that's probably going to be a good motorcycle for you. All right. The other thing I tell people, it's centered around training, is before you even go to the dealership and pick out a motorcycle, take a training course just to see how it is. Now, there are training courses all over the great United States. Pennsylvania is the state I'm in, just happens to have a free course, but that doesn't make the other courses less desirable. They just cost you a little bit of money. But the nice thing about it is they provide you with a motorcycle, so you're not spending the money up front to get a motorcycle, because I've heard horror stories, and I've even seen horror stories where somebody goes out, they buy a bike, they take the course to learn how to ride a bike, they absolutely cannot grasp the concept of motorcycling which has left them forced to sell their motorcycle that they just spent a lot of money on and did not get a return on the investment, so even lost money because they bought gear, bought a bike, bought all this stuff, and sold it immediately the next day because they found motorcycling wasn't for them. So that's why I say take a course before you pick a motorcycle. And lastly, just don't buy a new bike for a first bike. Now there's a couple videos coming up centered around newer bikes in terms of technology, but I'm not going to get into the details on that. But really the reason you don't want to buy a new bike is if you accidentally drop it. I mean, it's so much nicer to have an issue on an older bike than on a newer bike, and that's just speaking from experience. I have seen people buy new bikes, and literally when I worked at a dealership, they rode the bike out of the dealership and dropped it right after they picked the thing up for purchase, and it's heartbreaking because you haven't even made that first bike payment, and now you have to take it in for an insurance claim, or you're coming out of pocket. So I'd say get a used bike. If it falls over, no big deal. Get one with some scrapes and scuffs on it. My first bike was a few years old, and the other benefit to it is you could usually buy a used bike and ride it for a while and sell it for almost what you paid for it. So that's the other benefit to getting a used bike as a first bike. You probably make all your money back, if not lose just a little bit. But yeah, guys, that's kind of the gist of it. That's kind of how it'll go down, what we'll talk about. So yeah, submit those comments on the video. I look forward to seeing what you guys have to say, what you'd like to see. But that's going to do it for this first video, guys. We'll see you in the next video. Thanks for checking this one out.